Nice! I'm so excited, we're gonna make awesome videos! On the off chance that anyone else is watching this, here's the general premise. I just moved really far away, so since DC and I are only gonna get to see each other a few times a year now, we figured that making these videos would be a great way to stay in touch and have some awesome conversations about really interesting stuff. We realized that's basically the same as the Vlogbrothers, and we're not trying to rip them off or anything. It's pretty much a whole imitation is the sincerest form of flattery situation. Yeah, TBA! I don't know what you're planning on doing with your videos, but I am definitely aiming to make you think a lot. Also, I'm pretty sure a lot of my videos are going to have supplementary material that I'm going to ask you to watch or read. Speaking of which, here we go. So if CGP Grey's perfect robot brain is correct, and let's face it, in the next few decades, like a third of the population could end up losing their jobs to his robotic brethren. That is a huge problem. So for the topic of this video, I want us to try to start solving it. Okay, so this is based on CGP Grey's last video. Did you happen to see it? Holy crap, I cannot get it out of my brain. If you haven't, you should click this link to go watch it. Or if you're in a hurry or just lame, I'll summarize it for you in a second. It's the intermission song, intermission. Okay, I'll stop. But hey, at least that should lay to rest any thought that we're ripping off the Vlogbrothers, because in that analogy, I'd be Hank. But obviously, when it comes to musical prowess, we're both John. Except neither of us are best-selling authors. Damn it, they're cool! Did you watch it? Right? So basically his point is that as technology continues to improve, eventually there will be bots that can do virtually all of the most common jobs, and do them much better, faster, and cheaper than people ever could. If a trucking company has a choice between a human driver or an auto that can drive 24 hours a day, never gets in an accident, and doesn't require a paycheck, who do you think they're going to pick? If you didn't watch the video and you think that unions will prevent this, or this only applies to low-skill jobs, or that technology improving is going to create as many new jobs as it destroys old ones, well, Grey addresses and frankly destroys those and many other arguments. Seriously, watch the video. As Grey says, we need to start thinking now about what we're going to do when large portions of the population are unemployable through no fault of their own. So, let's start thinking. Rather than having a third of the population sitting at home just collecting unemployment, we need to have work for them to do that will have some kind of value to society, even if it's not in that high of demand economically. So, what kind of work might fit that bill? I had a really hard time coming up with an answer to that question until I talked to Megan about it, and as usual, she was smarter than me and pointed out that in Oregon, there's no self-pump gas stations. Whenever you need to fill up on gas there, you just pull into a gas station and attendants come and pump your gas for you. This work obviously isn't really in that high of demand because Oregon's pretty much the only place that does it, but those are thousands of jobs that otherwise wouldn't exist in that state. The only problem I see with this example is that it doesn't really add much value to society. Not to mention that if Elon Musk and many other great forward thinkers are correct, and damn, we better hope they are, within 2 or 3 decades, gasoline really isn't going to be much of a thing anymore. Yes! But I feel like this example sets a precedent that by making certain laws, like Oregon's law about not self-pumping gas, you can create a lot of jobs. We just need to come up with jobs that have more of a future and add more value to society. So, what work could people do that would be of more value? Well, speaking of the need for fossil fuels to not be a thing anymore, my answer was that they could do some kind of work that would be beneficial to the environment. I feel like this is a pretty great solution because yes, there's not a whole lot of economic demand for it, but it absolutely has value. So in this field, there's the obvious work that's currently only done by volunteers, like cleaning up damage that's been done to natural habitats. But I think there might be a lot more work like that that's just less apparent. For example, there's some incredibly compelling evidence that a lot of the world's land that was historically grassland and is now turning to desert is doing so because the huge herds of large herbivores that co-evolved with those grasses are now gone. Anyone else who might be watching this video and doesn't know about this? Yeah, if their grazing is managed properly, livestock is good for or even necessary for sustaining healthy grasslands, which are huge carbon sinks. Yes! If you don't believe me, watch this video and biologist Alan Savory will explain it to you. Savory and those he works with have already implemented programs of planned grazing that are starting to successfully restore grasslands on over 15 million hectares of land all over the world. If governments were to allocate funds for this, we could create untold numbers of jobs for people shepherding livestock around public lands as a proxy for bygone herds of buffalo or elephants or whatever the case may be in the given area, to restore the natural balance of the grasslands and start reversing climate change. Another example like that that's occurred to me is cleaning up all the trash and plastic in the oceans. Have you heard of the Great Pacific Garbage Patch? Well, if you don't know much about the problem of plastics in the ocean or you want to hear about a genius proposed solution, you should go watch this video. This is another example of work that isn't exactly in demand economically speaking, but if governments were to fund this project, there's a lot of societal value in the environmental benefits that it would have, and building and maintaining these systems would create thousands of jobs. So that's pretty much what I came up with, which doesn't even begin to fill the millions of jobs that may be lost. But I feel like it's a good start. Again, my point is the same as Gray's. Automation is going to put workers out of jobs in large enough numbers and soon enough that it's going to be a huge problem if we're not prepared. And we're not prepared. So let's start thinking. What are your ideas? DC, I'll see you on Monday?